We should jump back to the question that we ended up going off on a tangent for, which I'm very good at doing with Elden Ring and other
Yeah,
stuff, is going on tangents.
it's very
Um,
easy to do that, definitely, especially when you're very passionate
yeah,
about something.
yeah. Every single tangent I go on has 1,000 tangents I can go on about them. It's crazy. But the five enemies that I'd like to see as bosses. So one of them is the ant riders, right? The ones that ride the ants. I'd love to see one of them as just a boss, like in its own little arena with some little ants or something, where maybe it retreats for a little bit at a certain point, and just ants come in or something. Just simple stuff. Could be in a cave or whatever.
Okay.
The arena doesn't need to be too crazy, just big enough that you can, use some distancing and deal with its long range attacks and not get cornered. And something that would be nice in this arena and in more arenas, right, would be like rocks in the middle of the room or pillars, things that you can use to put between you and the enemy for certain attacks. Like, for example, Ornstein and Smo, right? Ornstein has the long range thrust, and you can put a pillar between you and him, right? There's the one where it like homes around it and everything, but having something like that to stop attacks. And Ornstein and Smo is not a good example of one that you can't avoid, no roll, because obviously you just side sprint, but there's a lot of attacks where you can't avoid them in Elden Ring. However, if you were to put like just rocks and stuff in an arena where you can do that, it would help a lot. A good example is the Soldier of Nextella. He's got like a few pillars, right, in that arena, but they're very far apart. And to do no roll, you either have to maintain extreme distance for his flying dive attack, or you can position a pillar in between you and the boss. And I think just simple stuff like that, just having obstacles, can go a long way in an arena. Or having like a slope in an upper level and a lower level, just somewhere you can go to distance yourself and then drop down and make the boss, mess with its AI. Maybe get a plunging attack. We don't do that anymore apparently. But the wolf riding lady, really like to see her as one.
Oh,
And
wolf riding lady. I don't think must have missed her.
the one that shoots arrows, in the concealed tundra or whatever it is.
I don't. Maybe I haven't been there yet.
So it's right before the trial you go through to get to the Halig tree to fight Melania. There's literally like two of them in the entire game, and they're just there. They ride around on their wolf and shoot arrows at you and have some cool attacks on the wolf attacks as well. And it's just they're
Huh.
fun. If you had like a duo of them, and then like some archers that you had to take out, Tower Knight style from Demon Souls, that could be a really fun fight.
Okay.
It could be a lot of fun having to work through an environment, take out the archers, and then fight off the two wolf archers or something. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that enemy. I don't recall seeing them at all. All
Oh
right.
yeah, they're awesome.
All right.
There's an
Was there anything else you wanted to touch on that one?
there's one more enemy that I was thinking of. The flame chariot could have been done cool. They could have done a nice arena with a flame chariot and some mobs. And it's crazy because a lot of people would hate that I'm saying gank bosses in general, but dude, I love a good gank boss.
Oh
I think that
yes.
they're incredible
Well, what
when
do you
they're
think?
done right.
Um, so I'm gonna remove the other one, which was Finger Creeper, because I don't really have a good. I don't really have anything good to mention in terms of that. It's just something I threw
It
in.
could like drop off a ceiling, and as you fight it, it could go back up to the ceiling, and
Maybe
like
just
have a mechanic like that, sort of like Ludwig or something,
yeah, maybe fighting a humongous one, like the biggest one, and have like really cool moves with the fingers. I think might be pretty cool.
right? Like a master hand type fight, or like
Yeah, yeah, Master Hand.
yeah,
All right, so the real quick, feel free to interject.
okay.
So my first one's Fire Prelate. Of course, he's the one that looks like
Yeah,
Smo. He is absolutely fantastic. The arena that I have in mind is the arena he's actually already in, called it's in
yeah,
Fort Lade, next to the Volcano Manor. I think that
yep.
that place. I think that whole place
It
was
should have been
designed.
a boss fight. Yeah,
Yes,
I
definitely.
agree.
I feel like that arena was actually designed just for him, but unfortunately,
Yeah,
it's got one of those flaws, like sort of like the Ludwig, where you got the steps that kind of messes up with the boss's move set. And so
yeah,
the same issue here, because he's got this charging attack that would be really cool if he could continue it going up the stairs, but he gets cut off. And so I don't know if you saw my video of me fighting him. I think I reduced
yep.
myself down to where I'm fighting him for like 2 minutes, and the whole thing, yeah, I just with the restrictions with no rolling made it really fun. And definitely a very underrated moment in Elden Ring that not a whole lot of people are going to look at. They're just going to walk in there, kill him in like 2 or 3 hits. It's such a
I'll
shame.
do that next. I'll do that next. I'll go fight him next. That'll
Oh
be the
man,
next
please
part of
do. I
doing
want to
Elden Ring.
see. I want to see it.
I'm gonna reduce it down until it's about 2 minutes.
Nice. Yes, because I want to see how you approach it. So yeah, Fire
Yeah,
Prelate.
I won't watch your video. I'm gonna try to do my own strategy and see how it compares. And now I can see like what you did that I didn't, and vice versa.
Okay.
That'll be really cool.
You might find more openings than I did because I mean, like I only spent maybe a few hours analyzing it,
Yeah, yeah.
but
And I have way too much experience with this stuff. So
so my second one is the crayfish. Not a whole lot of people talk
I
about
knew that was coming.
the. Not a whole lot of people talk about the crayfish, and they're extremely powerful, very aggressive enemies, and
Yeah, they're
my
scary.
yeah, they're very scary, and
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I didn't know they could actually stagger and you can get a repause on them, but of course it makes
Yep.
sense in Elden Ring. But do I?
Oh, I just said yep.
And so what was one thing I was going? There was I totally forgot. But anyway, crayfish in the sewers. That one spot where you have those um, little pieces of pipe laying on the ground. I feel like that would be a great arena for a crayfish. But if the crayfish was a little bit faster, maybe I don't know. There would have to be some kind of necessary
Yeah.
adjustments so where you just couldn't just simply spam them to death and of course, like I said, there would have to be necessary adjustments so you couldn't just simply overpower them. It would actually be a beautiful piece of art in terms of just the fight in general. And so my next one is the Lion Guardian duo, and that's at the Castle
Oh,
Saul.
I meant to tell. All right, that was one on my list. It's the big lion with the claws on the arm.
Okay, yeah,
That is
Lion.
one that I wanted to mention. That needs to be a boss.
Yeah,
It's so good. Like it confuses me how that's not a boss.
exactly. When I first started playing Elden Ring, I'm like, man, when's the boss version of this enemy going to show up? And it never did. I'm like, what? And then I get to Castle
Yeah,
Saul, and I see this,
it's
you
like
know,
two,
yeah, like you get fight two of them. It's very similar to Lud and
and they do it.
Zalin.
Blood and Zelen. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
even the one of them is even sleeping like Lud and Zalin.
Yep.
I'm like,
And I
man,
love that. I thought that was an awesome nod to Dark Souls 2. But
yes,
they didn't make it a boss fight. Like,
yeah.
why not? Just throw some health bars on there, man. Please.
Maybe a
I would have
diff,
loved that.
maybe a different arena. Maybe not necessarily Castle Saul. I think because I think I had too many.
Yeah. And it's too cheesable with that door right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, hopefully it would be blocked off if it was an actual boss
Right,
fight.
fog wall. Yeah.
But yeah, I would change the arena. I don't know exactly
Dude,
where.
honestly, that arena would be sick. So, you know how there's that balcony that you can go up
Uh huh.
and it like takes you to the upper floor? If you fog wall after the balcony where it goes to kind of that street where there's the building on the left, like if you just fog wall there and you have the upper floor and then you have the bottom area, like you have a good boss arena because you have places you can go where you can kind of like mitigate the two of them. You can get one of them trapped. You could go up to the top and kind of use that range to your advantage, and they can get up there and like
Yeah, I can see that.
as long as yeah, because a lot of the problem with it right now is it's just like you either go too far up top or you just walk out the door and the fight kind of breaks apart. But honestly, if you sanction it off properly, I think it could be a really good boss arena.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree on that point. Um,
Especially having the upper floor because you can lure one up, fight it one on one when the other one starts getting involved, drop down, one drops down, you fight it, you know what I mean? And you get kind of that loop.
Thank you for listening to this podcast clip. If you want to watch more of the podcast, the full podcast is in the link in the description, along with my guest channel name. And if you would like to guest in a future podcast, please contact me and we shall talk so we can discuss many, many topics, more to come. Other than that, have a glorious day.